Ladies and gentlemen, you ever been in a room full of people and felt completely invisible? You ever shown up for somebody over and over again, and they still treat you like you ain't worth a hello? That's not just disrespect, it's a wake-up call. And I'm here to tell you, it's time to answer it. Because if you keep letting people walk all over you, don't be surprised when they start thinking you're the floor. The truth is, people will only treat you the way you allow them to. And if you've been dealing with folks who look past you, talk down to you, or act like you're not enough, you're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck there. This message today is about standing up, not with your fists, but with your presence, with your peace, with your power. We're talking about 5 smart, simple ways to handle people who don't respect you without losing your cool, your character, or your crown. So if you've ever been disrespected, overlooked, talked about, or taken for granted, don't scroll, don't blink, don't move. Stay locked in. Because by the end of this, you're gonna walk different, talk different, and most of all, think different about the way you let people treat you. Let's get into it. When someone disrespects you, the first instinct most people have is to react. Maybe you want to clap back with something sharp, maybe raise your voice, maybe even try to put them in their place right there on the spot. That's human. That's emotion kicking in. But let me tell you something most people won't tell you. Silence, real silence, that calm walk away kind of silence is louder than shouting ever could be. See, when you react with anger or get all riled up, they win. That's exactly what they want, to pull you down to their level. They want to get under your skin, make you look crazy, make you feel small. But when you respond with silence, when you just look at them, maybe give a little smile and turn your back, you flip the power dynamic completely. You're not playing their game. You're showing them, without saying a word, that they don't have that kind of control over you. That kind of strength, that's rare, that's power. Think about the last time someone disrespected you. Maybe it was your boss in front of your coworkers. Maybe it was a family member who always has something slick to say. Maybe it was a so-called friend who thinks jokes at your expense are funny. Now imagine if, instead of reacting, instead of giving them more fuel, you just said nothing. You just looked at them unbothered and walked away. Not because you were weak, but because you knew your worth, and you knew they weren't even worth the breath it would take to respond. That's the move that leaves them speechless. That's the move they remember. Silence doesn't mean you didn't notice the disrespect. It doesn't mean you're okay with it either. It means you've got the self, respect, and maturity to not let nonsense throw you off your game. People who are secure in themselves, who know who they are, don't need to prove it to anybody. And they especially don't need to prove it to people who clearly don't value them. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. If I don't speak up, won't they just keep doing it? Here's the thing. You're not staying silent forever. You're staying silent in the heat of the moment. You're refusing to give them your energy when they don't deserve it. Later, when you're calm and clear-headed, if that person matters to you, you can address it on your terms. But when the disrespect hits, that moment right there, that's when silence is your power move. And silence doesn't just serve them a lesson, it serves you too. Because reacting emotionally takes energy. It raises your stress. It messes with your peace. And honestly, most of the time, it doesn't fix anything. But silence, that gives you time to breathe, to think, to decide how you want to handle it. Not just react from a place of hurt. You ever notice how some of the most powerful people in the room are the quietest? They're not quiet because they're scared. They're quiet because they're focused, because they don't waste energy on things beneath them. That's the kind of quiet I'm talking about here. The kind that says, I know who I am. I know what I bring, and I don't need to explain myself to someone who doesn't see it. So the next time someone disrespects you, take a breath. Don't jump into the fire. Step back. Stay silent. Walk away if you need to. Let your peace do the talking. Let your silence be your statement. Because real strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It just stands tall, walks out, and leaves everybody wondering how they lost the chance to know you better. That's how you hold your power. That's how you handle disrespect. With dignity, not drama. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do when someone doesn't respect you. See, the problem is most people don't even know they're allowed to draw that line. They think being kind means saying yes all the time. They think being polite means letting things slide. But I'm here to tell you there is a difference between being kind and being a doormat. And when someone keeps crossing the line, it's time to draw one so bold they can't ignore it. A boundary is not about building walls. It's about building respect. It's about letting people know, hey, I care about myself enough to protect my peace. And let me tell you something, when you've got peace, when you've got self-worth, you don't just hand it over to anybody who shows up talking loud and acting reckless. You guard that peace like it's treasure, because it is. Now, when someone disrespects you, especially someone close to you, it stings. Maybe they talk to you like you're beneath them. Maybe they make jokes that hit too deep. Maybe they ignore your needs like they don't even matter. That's when the boundary comes in. You don't have to get ugly with it. You don't have to yell or make a scene. You just have to be clear. It could sound like, I don't appreciate being spoken to like that, and I won't allow it anymore. Or, if you continue to treat me this way, I'll have to step away. That's not being rude. That's being honest. That's being strong. That's telling someone, you don't get to treat me however you want and still have access to me. And look, some people won't like your boundaries. That's because they benefited from you not having any. They like the version of you who always said yes, who never pushed back, who let them talk wild with no consequences. So the moment you start showing a little backbone, they'll try to guilt you, shame you, or tell you you're too sensitive. Don't fall for it. That's just manipulation in disguise. When someone disrespects you, your silence might confuse them, but your boundaries will stop them. What you allow is what will continue. That's a truth you've got to take to heart. People treat you based on the standards you set. So if you keep letting it slide, it will keep happening. But when you make it clear that there are lines not to be crossed, you'll see something amazing happen. The ones who genuinely care about you will rise up to meet those standards. The ones who don't, they'll either fall back or fall away. And either way you win. Because now your space, your mind, and your heart are freer, I get it. Though setting boundaries isn't always easy, especially if you're not used to it. Maybe you've spent your life trying to please everybody, trying to be liked, trying to avoid conflict. But hear me, peace without boundaries is fake peace. It's a ticking time bomb. You can only hold it in for so long before it explodes, and usually on someone who didn't even deserve it. Start small if you have to. Maybe it's telling someone no without explaining yourself. Maybe it's not picking up the phone for people who only call to take. Maybe it's walking away from conversations that drain you. Every time you do it, you build muscle. And soon, you'll realize how much stronger and freer you feel. The truth is, boundaries don't push people away. They show people how to love you right. And if someone refuses to respect that, they've just told you everything you need to know. You don't need disrespect in your circle. You need people who see you, who hear you, who respect what you bring to the table. So the next time someone steps out of line, don't just feel hurt, act, speak with clarity. Set that boundary like your future depends on it, because in a way, it does. Every time you stand up for yourself, you teach the world how to treat you. And more importantly, you remind yourself that you are worthy of respect, no matter who's in front of you. When someone doesn't respect you, it's easy to take it personally. It's easy to think, what did I do wrong? Or why don't they see my worth? But here's the truth most people don't realize. Their disrespect says more about them than it ever will about you. The way people treat you is a reflection of their character, not a judgment of your value. And when you finally understand that, you stop chasing their approval and start focusing on your own growth. See, people who constantly disrespect others are usually operating from a place of insecurity, pain, or ego. Maybe they've been disrespected themselves. Maybe they feel small inside, so they try to make others feel even smaller. That doesn't excuse their behavior, but it does help you realize that their actions are about their own mess, not yours. When you know who you are, when you truly see your worth, you stop giving people that kind of power over your peace. You've got to learn how to stand strong in your identity, even when people try to shake it. Just because someone doesn't value you doesn't mean you're not valuable. You don't become less just because someone refuses to see your light. That's their blindness, not your dimness. Don't let their lack of vision become your insecurity. Let me tell you something real. If you keep waiting for people to treat you right before you believe in yourself, you'll be waiting forever. There will always be someone who doesn't see your worth. There will always be someone who talks down, doubts your dreams, or tries to bring you back to a place you've outgrown. But guess what? That's not your problem to fix. Your job is not to convince someone of your value. Your job is to know it, walk in it, and let your life speak for itself. When you start internalizing this, you stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for things you shouldn't apologize for. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You begin to realize that their disrespect isn't a mirror, it's noise. And you don't have to let that noise into your spirit. You can choose silence. You can choose focus. You can choose to keep growing despite the doubt around you. Think about a diamond. Whether it's appreciated or not, whether it's seen or buried, it's still a diamond. Its value doesn't change just because someone tosses it aside. And neither does yours. Stop letting the opinions of people who don't even know your heart define how you show up. Stop seeking validation from those who wouldn't know greatness if it was standing in front of them. Now, I get it. It hurts when people you care about don't treat you right, especially when it comes from friends, family, or people you thought were in your corner. That pain is real, but pain can be a teacher. And one of the lessons it teaches is this: sometimes rejection is redirection. Sometimes the ones who hurt you are the very ones pushing you to see your own power. You're not here to please everybody. You're here to grow, to evolve, to become everything you were made to be. And you can't do that if you're always trying to win the approval of people who don't even respect themselves. So stop letting their disrespect define you. Let it remind you. Remind you that you're on a different level. Remind you that you've got a purpose bigger than their small-mindedness. Remind you that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. This is your time to rise above it, to use their doubt as fuel, to use their silence as motivation, to use their disrespect as confirmation that you're stepping into something greater. Don't match their energy. Elevate yours. Don't get pulled into their storm. Bring your peace. Because at the end of the day, you control how you respond. You can either let their disrespect break you, or you can let it build you into someone stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever before. So next time someone disrespects you, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "What's going on with them?" And then remind yourself of this: I am not what they say I am. I am what I know I am, and I will not let someone else's weakness become the reason I forget my strength. Keep moving, keep growing, keep being who you are, because that's your real power. When you set boundaries, you're not being rude, mean, or difficult. You're being clear. You're saying, this is how I expect to be treated, and I will not tolerate less. It's one of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with people who don't respect you. Because let's be real, if you don't set the standard for how others should treat you, they'll set it for you. And trust me, they'll set it lower than you deserve. Boundaries aren't about building walls to shut people out. They're about drawing lines to protect your peace. People who respect you will understand those boundaries and honor them. People who don't respect you will be bothered by them, and that's how you know who's really in your corner. The moment you stop letting people walk all over you is the moment you take your power back. See, too many people confuse kindness with weakness. They think if you're quiet, you'll let things slide. If you don't fight back every time, they assume you're okay with being treated like an afterthought. But what they don't understand is this: being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. You can be respectful and still firm. You can be loving and still have limits. You can be understanding and still say, that's not okay. You've got to get comfortable saying no without explaining yourself. You've got to stop feeling guilty for protecting your mental and emotional space. If someone makes you feel bad for setting a boundary, that's proof they benefited from you not having one. Think about that. The only people who get angry when you stand up for yourself are the ones who were taking advantage of you in the first place. Let's talk about something that happens a lot: guilt. You might feel guilty setting boundaries with people you care about. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, a co-worker. Maybe you've let things slide for years, and now you're afraid of how they'll react when you finally speak up. But here's the truth: you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you allow disrespect, it becomes normal. If you allow constant criticism, it becomes expected. But the moment you say, enough is enough, the game changes. Yes, some people will be upset. Some will say you've changed. And you have. You've grown. You've realized your peace is more important than their approval. And that's not selfish. That's self-care. You can't be everything to everyone if you're constantly drained, constantly hurt, constantly second-guessing your worth. Boundaries keep you sane. Boundaries keep you healthy. Boundaries keep you from losing yourself trying to please people who don't even value your presence. Another thing, boundaries are not just about others. They're also about you. You've got to hold yourself accountable too. You've got to respect your own time, your own goals, your own peace. Stop breaking promises to yourself just to keep promises to people who wouldn't do the same for you. If you said you were going to rest, then rest. If you said you were going to focus on your growth, then don't let someone else's drama drag you off course. Respecting yourself isn't just about what you say, it's about what you do. It's about the energy you allow in your space. It's about the conversations you entertain, the people you give access to your life, the way you respond when someone crosses the line. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to argue. Sometimes the strongest response is quiet action. You simply adjust how much of yourself you give to people who don't know how to treat you right. So if someone doesn't respect you, it's not your job to beg for it. It's your job to set a boundary and stick to it. Let them deal with their own feelings. Let them be uncomfortable. Growth isn't always pretty, but peace is priceless. And peace comes when you stop tolerating nonsense in the name of being nice. Remember, your boundaries are not up for negotiation. You don't owe anyone access to you if they misuse it. You are not too much. You're not being dramatic. You're just finally choosing yourself. And once you start doing that, you'll be surprised how much stronger, clearer, and more confident you feel. So draw the line, set the standard, hold it steady, and let the world adjust. Because the people who truly deserve to be in your life won't be offended by your boundaries. They'll be grateful for your honesty and respect you even more for it. When someone doesn't respect you, it's easy to feel like you've got to match their energy. Snap back, defend yourself, or even try to get even. But the real power, the real strength, it comes when you rise above it. When you stop wasting your energy proving your worth to people who already decided to ignore it. You're not here to convince anyone to treat you right. You're here to carry yourself in a way that demands respect without ever having to raise your voice. It's natural to want to be liked, to want people to see the good in you. But here's the deal, not everybody will. Some people are so wrapped up in their own issues, their own bitterness, their own insecurities, that they'll project that mess onto you. And if you're not careful, you'll start thinking it's your fault. It's not. You can be the kindest, realest, most loyal person in the room, and someone still won't respect you. And that's not a reflection of your character. That's a reflection of theirs. When you carry yourself with dignity, when you know who you are and what you bring to the table, you stop dancing for people's approval. You stop explaining yourself to folks who aren't even listening. You stop bending over backward for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. That's when you begin to protect your peace. That's when you start to glow differently. And let me tell you something, people feel that shift. They notice when you're not reacting like you used to, when you no longer beg, chase, or plead, when you simply adjust your crown and move differently. See, walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that you can't change people, but you can change how much of yourself you give to them. If someone consistently disrespects you, they don't deserve your time, your kindness, or your energy. They don't deserve the version of you that bends. They deserve the version of you that says, no more. And you don't have to make a big scene about it. You don't have to announce your departure. You just stop showing up for people who don't show up for you. Silence is powerful. It speaks louder than any argument. It says, I value myself too much to be pulled into this mess. And the best part, when you stop reacting to disrespect, people start to wonder why. That quiet confidence, it confuses them. It makes them question their behavior because most folks expect a reaction. They expect drama. When you don't give it to them, it throws them off. That's your power. You have to remember, not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Some people need to be loved from a distance, or not at all. Some bridges are meant to be burned. And when they burn, don't stand there crying over the ashes. Use that fire to light your path forward. Because the more time you spend trying to make someone respect you, the less time you have to focus on those who already do. Every moment you waste trying to make someone see your worth is a moment you take away from someone who already does. So stop chasing people who make you feel small. Stop trying to prove your value to people who can't even see their own. Respect isn't just about how others treat you. It's about how you allow them to treat you. And once you decide that disrespect is no longer welcome in your life, everything begins to change. You begin to attract different energy. People notice that you're not the same anymore. You're not afraid to walk alone. You're not desperate for attention or validation. You're whole, you're grounded, you're focused. That's intimidating to some, but inspiring to many. Because when you walk in your truth, when you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, you become a magnet for real respect. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this: you don't have to respond to everything. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep your peace, stay silent, and keep it moving. because the ones who truly see you, who truly value you, will never make you question your worth. And those who do, they were never meant to be close to you in the first place. Your silence, your grace, your strength, it speaks volumes. Don't waste it proving anything to people who were never listening. You've got better things to do. You've got growth to chase, goals to crush, and a life to build that honors who you are and what you're becoming. Keep it moving. Keep it silent. Keep it strong. That's how you win. Sure, here's the expanded version of the 6th keynote. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Let that sink in for a moment. Too often, we feel like we have to justify our silence, our distance, our choices. But the truth is, when someone disrespects you, repeatedly, intentionally, or even subtly, you have every right to step back. You don't need to call a meeting to explain why you're no longer responding to their calls. You don't need to send a long message breaking down how they made you feel. You don't need to post a dramatic quote or announce your exit. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to quietly disappear from someone's life and let your absence speak volumes. See, here's what happens when you stop explaining yourself, you take your power back. Because as long as you're explaining, you're still seeking something. Approval, validation, maybe even closure. But not everybody deserves that from you. Not everyone is mature enough to hear your truth. Some people will twist your words, gaslight you, or turn it into a game. So stop giving them that chance. When you walk away without a word, you leave them with their actions. And that silence, that space you create, forces them to deal with what they did. It makes them sit with their own behavior instead of making you responsible for their discomfort. Now, this doesn't mean you become cold or bitter. It means you become wise. It means you recognize when a conversation will only drain you. It means you choose peace over chaos, growth over drama, wisdom over ego. And let me tell you, silent strength. It shakes people more than a loud outburst ever could. Because when they expect you to react and you don't, when they expect you to break and you stand tall, it makes them look in the mirror. That quiet composure. It's a mirror they can't avoid. A person who truly respects you won't put you in a position to question your value. But when they do, and they continue to do so, your quiet exit sends a stronger message than any argument ever could. That's how boundaries work. That's how self-respect works. It doesn't come with fanfare. It comes with stillness, clarity, and confidence. You don't have to yell to prove you're done. You don't have to explain why you're choosing yourself. The very act of choosing yourself is enough. And here's another truth. Explaining yourself to people who don't respect you never leads to understanding. It leads to defensiveness, blame, and sometimes even more disrespect. They'll try to make it about your tone, your timing, your words, anything to avoid looking at what they did wrong. That's why silence becomes the smartest answer. It protects your energy. It keeps you from re-entering cycles that only leave you empty. It frees you. You have the right to be unavailable to people who abuse your presence. You have the right to go silent on someone who constantly plays with your feelings. You have the right to create distance when someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries. And you don't owe anyone the roadmap to that decision. It's yours. You're not being rude. You're not being petty. You're being honest with yourself. You're honoring your peace. That's maturity. Let your silence be the boundary. Let it be the closure. Let it be the new standard. Because when you stop explaining, you give yourself space to heal. You stop trying to be understood by people who never took the time to understand you in the first place. You stop replaying scenarios in your head, hoping you could have said it better, clearer, softer. You stop carrying the emotional labor of fixing what they broke. And in that silence, you find clarity, you find peace, you find strength. So the next time someone asks, "Why are you so distant now?" or why don't you talk to me anymore? You don't have to go into detail. You don't have to reopen wounds. You can simply say, I needed peace, and let that be enough. Because it is. Your peace matters. Your energy matters. Your mental health matters. At the end of the day, you're not here to be everything to everyone. You're not here to beg for respect or chase after understanding. You're here to grow, to thrive, to protect your spirit. And sometimes the best way to do that is to stay silent, walk away, and never look back. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in strength, in wisdom, and in deep, quiet self-respect. That's how you heal. That's how you move forward. And that right there is how you win.